Hello, everyone, and welcome to what I've dubbed Let's Speech. As per last time, I've conducted another speech for my speech class, persuasive speaking class, at my college. And in order to motivate myself to doing my video critique on what I've done, in other words, say what I did good and what I did bad, how I could improve, and so on and so forth, I, excuse me, I am making this video. Or rather, I would, except for the fact that I ended up procrastinating making the video so long that I had to make the actual essay first. So, yeah. What this speech is about is the smoking policy at my college, or community college, Lane Community College, which essentially mandates now that no tobacco products are to be on campus at all. And by the end of the year, this will also include the parking lots. Now, personally, I don't like cigarette smoke, but I do not like the idea of forcing smokers completely off campus because, well, this kills any chance for my sister ever to come to freaking college because she just needs any fucking chance not to. And aside, aside from that, I know too many people who smoke. I've known them for too long, and it just seems really mean. Yeah, that's basing everything on it's me. But I like to think of it like this: my father would never be able to come to this college then because he is physically unable to quit smoking due to his job. He has so much stress at his work. Albeit he wouldn't be able to even come to college had if he was holding down this job at the same time. Just because I don't know, working 11 hours plus away from the house, not even able to come home except for 2 out of 7 days of the week, kind of destroys the chance of going to college, going to school. But that's beside the point. I didn't really think it was very fair. Upon closer examination, I did discover that the Lane is completely within its rights in doing this, in making the campus completely tobacco free. Lane owns the grounds. The college itself owns the grounds it's built on, so it can do whatever it wants with it. And a high majority of the students wanted this change. With that in mind, as well as most of the class I was speaking to felt similarly, I decided, well, how about what if we just gave smokers some place out there, some just left the tobacco free left the smoking stations over in the parking lots because right now there are parking lot smoking stations. So I'm sort of trying to argue that just keep it how it is right now. Don't complete the ban all the way. Now, for this speech, we were required to have two visual aids, or no, not two visual aids, but a visual aid. I have two visual aids. In fact, I had a third, but I forgot to use it because kind of came up with it a little bit late, and so I forgot about it, which is terrible. And I never wrote in any cues in my speech. And yeah, the video you're going to see is mostly unedited. I did some audio fixing, and I also added the visual aids because the camera did not pick them up. You can obviously see in it that the camera isn't looking at the screen at all, which is horrible. And you just cannot see it, which is disappointing to me. I was extremely disappointed. As it is, I want to see what you think. I do not really need any criticism on this video. I am going to upload a second video that has my criticism of my own speech on it. So if you have any criticism, please put it on that one, due to the fact that you may just repeat something I've already said. Thank you very much. And fact of the matter is I may not reply to any comments on these videos. I apologize. It's just I get a little irritated sometimes with a couple of specific ways sometimes people will reply to something. And I don't know, I just kind of feel sensitive about this one. Uh, so, if I don't reply, don't feel bad. I just didn't want to reply, really. Or go into a long discussion about it or whatever. So, yeah. Anyway, enjoy. I really do understand I've done a lot of things poorly. Specifically, I lent on the yeah. You know what? I'm not even gonna say it. Enjoy it for now. Then, next video I will talk about it. So I will see you there. Enjoy.
All right. You have an important presentation to give at a distant convention. You travel for hours to the countryside trying to get there on time. Finally, you get to the event, pay the hefty fees for the space for your company, but suddenly you're stopped and escorted out before you're finished setting up. It's revealed that you're not wearing a tie, and therefore not good enough to represent a company. As you travel home, you lose your job and failed the presentation. You find yourself wondering, what was the point? This is what's happening to smokers' education. After working for their education for so long, they're being told to abandon their work. This is through the ban on tobacco products on campus that, according to Lane itself, will include the parking lots and the tiny smoking stations by the end of the year. This is just a little too far for the paying students who just happen to smoke. During my time up here, I'll speak about 3 points. I will be speaking about the addiction itself and how it affects a person. Second, I will be explaining the difficulties in getting to these stations in the first place. And finally, I want to talk about the counter-arguments that non-smokers view. All right, so let's get this presentation started. I'm sure most of you have an intuitive idea on what addiction is, but here's the dictionary definition for it. Addiction is defined as the state of being enslaved to a habit or practice or something that is psychologically or physically habit-forming, such as narcotics, to such an extent that cessation causes severe trauma. Those of you who don't quite know what cessation means, it is essentially to quit. I did not know that until recently myself. The information from the American Heart Association even states that nicotine causes a physical change in the brain chemistry, which causes it only to, let's see, where was it? Causing a physical need of nicotine in order to function properly. This is why addictive substances are illegal. Except, of course, the ones that contain nicotine and so are legal to build an empire on selling an addictive substance to the masses. Moving on, I recently did a simple experiment. I timed how long it takes to get to the average smoking station from the Senate building. It takes approximately 1.5 minutes at a swift walk to get to one of these smoking stations, which I've outlined in green. Add on the fact that it takes maybe 6 or 7 minutes to hurry through a cigarette, then the return trip, and you've used up all the time in between classes. With this in mind, how much time will it take to completely leave campus to smoke? Why is it acceptable to force paying students an hour or so away from campus for something that they can't easily nor feasibly rid themselves of? Finally, I want to comment on the view of non-smokers. I do not smoke. I am actually hypersensitive to cigarette smoke. And so I know what a lot of people who are non-smokers, the majority, I will admit, feel. According to Lane's recent poll data and the recorded student statements, non-smoking students don't want secondhand smoke endangering their health and the quality of the air they breathe. That is extremely understandable. It is not something you generally go to school to have as you get cancer. In fact, secondhand smoke has been noted to be more dangerous than just smoking a cigarette by itself. However, something to remember is just because someone is a smoker doesn't mean they're not affected by secondhand smoke. If there are two people smoking, is one immune to secondhand smoke just because they smoke? No, they still breathe the same problems from secondhand smoke from the other smoker. So arguing that just seems a little short-sighted. I don't believe that they are any less danger just because they have to smoke and they're forced to be around other smokers and breathing that secondhand smoke than people who are able to walk away from it. Consider this. With smokers stuck in the parking lots right now, you're exposed to secondhand smoke maybe twice a day. Once when coming from your car, if you pass by one of the smoking stations. And once returning, again, if you pass by a smoking station. I understand no one wants to breathe secondhand smoke, but for 2 tiny instances of smoke, you would completely remove a demographic. Now for what the opposition generally suggests to smokers. 1. Why don't you just smoke before school? Well, why don't you try going the entire day of classes without going to the bathroom once? Sure, I understand that I'm making a comparison from something that has been rewritten into someone's body to be something that is required to function properly to a natural bodily function that is required to function properly. And there's absolutely no relation from those 2 definitions. But nonetheless, you still get the same effect. If in both situations you're irritable, you can't concentrate, you're generally restless, and essentially you're not going to get a good, you might as well have just stayed home from school that day. Second, why don't they just quit? This question is often asked by the choir boys, the people who have never, ever been exposed to an addiction. People that don't know how it grabs you and doesn't let go. Smoking in any form, addiction in any form, is not easy to get rid of. The stress of quitting, all of the aforementioned notes of restlessness, irritability, the stress of just holding down a job, actually keeping up with your classes all at the same time, having a life outside of school and work, having work to hold down. Most people can't seem to even do 3 of those things at once. Work, school, and a social life. So adding on quitting smoking and any other additions that people, a lot of students here do end up just barely finishing, just doesn't seem, it's just not really possible for some people. I mean, unless you're Superman, but I'm pretty sure Superman isn't here at campus, though that would be interesting, I would admit. As I close, I want to remind everyone that starting next year, the tobacco ban, which includes even chewing tobacco, for those of you who did not know, will include the parking lots and all other lane grounds, even lane grounds that are not here at this campus. Forcing smokers who have little say in the matter anymore of when to smoke, to either leave campus to smoke or effectively leave school, as there's no legal safe place to smoke off campus and anywhere near it. What are you going to do? Smoke on the highway? It's legal to stand on the highway. Believe it or not, it is. If you are not forced to be out there due to a stranded car, it's illegal to be on the highway. All I know is that I wouldn't want to be forced to walk home with nothing, all alone after paying so much and working so hard. Thank you.
I have a question.
You may ask it,
But I already go sit in my car and smoke. Would that be legal?
I will admit that because the car owns to you, it is legal,
Okay.
but that's also very unsafe.
Yeah, I'm wondering if you crack the window for the smoke to go out, if they come and bust you then.
You can't have the window open because it counts as just standing out there smoking.
Alright, yeah. So, as I said, there was I know a lot of the things I messed up upon. A great deal of it is obvious. And before anyone says anything, no, I'm not going to dress up super nice because I don't have many nice clothes. The ones I do have are stuffy or need to be dry cleaned or something, cleaned really well. And I'm not going to carry around a 27-pound backpack in a suit that I don't have. Thank you very much. If I were doing something this professionally, of frickin' course, I would be doing that. But, yeah. Obvious things like super obvious things and stuff with words and things. Another thing I did irritate me is irritate me about this was the camera for some reason was acting weird. That's why we had the stuff in the corners. Normally there's just like one thing in like the bottom right corner, but there were 3 of them in all the corners. It was really weird. Kind of tempted to just put like a FPS counter in the top left corner just to make it symmetrical, but whatever. Yeah. So on to the next video. As I said at the beginning, I really only want positive comments on this video. If you agreed with it, if you disagreed with it, if you thought I delivered well, if you thought I delivered poorly. You know what? Actually, now that I think about it, I really don't care which you comment on, but please, please, please watch the next video before putting negative comments on. In fact, even before putting positive comments down, because there is a good chance that you're going to say I did something well, and I'm going to contradict you very, very fervently. It really depends. Some of the peer critiques I got back said I did well on certain things, and I thought I did poorly. Anyhow, as I've said like 6 times, I believe now, or several times at the very least, I will see you in the next video.